You know what? In 13 days, Lonzo Ball finds out if a prophecy 19 years in the making will be fulfilled. The Chino Hills native, who grew up about 50 miles from the Staples Center, has made it very clear to anyone who would listen that it is purple and gold above all. But with the polarizing albatross of his pops and his brand reportedly leaving the Lakers front office at odds, Jeff Goodman sat down with Ball to discuss one particular encounter with Lakers management.
How badly do you want to be drafted by the Lakers?
Really badly. If I had a preference, that would be a blessing to go there just because it's, LA. I always play for my hometown, and, something just playing for the West Coast, it just kind of, sticks with me, and I have a lot of pride in that. How well do you think you and DAngelo Russell can play in the backcourt? I think we can play pretty well. If you saw, the last 20 games, he was actually doing very well. And I feel he's more of a two-guard than a point guard, and I think he can complement my game just on the fact that he can score and he can shoot. So all he has to do is run the floor, I'm going to get him the ball, he can put the ball in the basket.
When you were talking to Magic Johnson, what was that conversation like in terms of the way you guys both play?
Just talking to him, you can see that we kind of have some similarities, and he even addressed that himself, which is kind of cool because, he's like the best point guard ever played. The first thing he said was showtime. He sees the way I play, very fast-paced, a lot of highlights, and he kind of plays the same way. And then he asked me, how I start games, because he said he started games kind of the same way I do. He kind of saw that in my game, which is, getting everybody else involved first and then, trying to take over. But then he also said, obviously in the big games, he knew when to come out and be aggressive and stuff. So that was kind of cool, just, hey, I play the same way you play. So it's just nice knowing that.
You said you don't get nervous playing. Mm-hmm. Were there nerves the first time you met Magic?
Well, we're all still human, so, I'm not nervous. But, like I said, one of the best players ever, a lot of respect for him, and seems like a great guy.
Any chance you'll work out for another team right now, or are you pretty much set with just going to the Lakers and hoping you end up getting drafted by the Lakers?
Yeah, right now I have no other workouts, but, my agent plans all that out. So whatever happens in, the next couple of weeks, that's what happens.
If you don't get drafted by the Lakers, what will be going through your head on draft night?
I still get to live out my dream in the NBA. So, obviously, my preference would be to go to LA, but whoever picks me, I'm going to have fun playing for them and just, go there and bring the organization whatever I can.
All right, back here with Ryan Russillo. Let's say for the sake of argument, Ryan, that it works out for Lonzo Ball, the Lakers actually do draft him. But what's the likelihood that a backcourt of Lonzo Ball and DAngelo Russell would be beneficial for the Lakers long term?
Well, if we're talking long-term and what we're really trying to get to here, competing for championships, I don't know if DAngelo Russell's going to become that kind of guy. But DAngelo can definitely play off of the ball. Now, he's always been looked at least when I remember him in Ohio State and what I've seen from him in the Lakers in these 2 years, is he's a bit of a playmaker. But Lonzo Ball is off the charts. Like, you would look at Russell and go, okay, we need you to improve the shooting, but don't worry about setting everybody else up because we have one of the all-timers. I'm not looking at Lonzo as advanced because I almost don't think that's giving him enough credit. It's beyond advanced. The way Lonzo sees the court is so special. When you talk to NBA teams, they are so enamored with this guy because he's just doing things that other people don't do. And I'm talking 10-year vets in this league. The way he sets up his teammates, the angles that he sees, the passes that he makes. This is a really special prospect, and I think it's almost getting overlooked because of the tournament and because of all the other stuff that's going on with his dad.
Yeah, at some point during the regular season, a lot of people were saying, college basketball regular season, that he was like Jason Kidd at the same stage of his career, but with a jump shot, and that's scary because Jason Kidd, Hall of Fame point guard in the NBA. Let's talk big picture Lakers, because I mentioned the playoffs, and that's what Laker fans want really talk about. They only won 26 games last year. Third straight year they've had the #2 overall pick. Even if you get Ball, even if Russell works out off the ball, what else do they need, though, in LA to get back to those Showtime days?
Well, I mean, if we're asking that kind of question, we're talking about a guy that's not even on the roster. And I like Brandon Ingram a lot. I think he has the highest ceiling of any of their young players, but we don't know that. I mean, you're going to need a top 5 guy. So how are you getting a top 5 guy in there through the draft? As much as I love Lonzo and the fact that even this Russell question, Lonzo can play with anybody, all right? Everybody's going to be able to play around this kid. But is it a Paul George? Is it trading an Ingram for somebody else who's more established. I mean, a lot of times what happens is when you're a bad team and you start to get impatient, and maybe in a market like LA it can happen,
yes.
That's when you can really screw up because you start drafting on need, you start projecting, okay, we need something in here. What you don't want to do is rush this. You don't want to rush it just because you're the Lakers and just because you're Magic and you're taking this over. So to ask me, hey, define the player, define the trade that's available, like that's an impossible thing to answer right now.
But they've got some guys that have to answer it at some point. Rob Pelinka, Magic Johnson being those two guys. Ron Russillo, thanks for hanging out with us. And I hear you have a radio show on ESPN Radio.
I do.
Is that right?
Today, yeah, Friday we're going to launch it.
1 o'clock Eastern? Something like that?
Yeah, 1 o'clock.
Even better.